What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Jonte here, back with another video, and today we're gonna be reacting to Jimmy High Roller. The Nets are already breaking records, and they haven't even played a game together. Now, my take on this is, I don't see, me personally, I don't know if the Nets will work out, but I think they could. It's definitely gonna be a lot different than when KD joined the Warriors. That's for sure. Because when KD joined the Warriors, we already knew like, oh, they're gonna win. But with James Harden going to the Nets, it's like we went from, all right, they should make the finals to, they gotta win the finals, bro. Like they have to win, or I'm gonna say there will be no point. Y'all traded 8 picks, Caris LeVert and Jared Allen, who are some good come up players, and they were your 6th and 7th man. Y'all don't have Spencer Dinwiddie, so I don't know how they're gonna get how they're gonna fix that situation or nothing. But from the time being, I got them going all the way. Will they beat the Lakers? I don't know. But yeah, let's get into it. Shout out to Jimmy High Roller. Original video being down in the link in the description down below. And make sure y'all go to his channel and like it up, subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this.
Well, after weeks of waiting around for the inevitable, it has finally happened. James Harden has been traded from the Houston Rockets to the Brooklyn Nets. Somehow.
Oh yeah, another thing. I haven't really watched Victor Oladipo so far this year, but if Victor Oladipo can get back to what he was 2 years ago on the Rockets with John Wall and Christian Wood and DeMarcus Cousins and PJ Tucker and Eric Gordon, bro, that team would be so stacked.
How the Nets managed to keep Kyrie in the process, wherever he's at. But in exchange for their superstar acquisition, the Nets pulled a move right out of the Clippers' book by giving away the future of their organization. A blossoming Caris LeVert is gone, and the best young rim protector in the league in Jared Allen is gone as well. Oh, and the Cavs now have 37 centers on their roster.
That's what I'm saying.
Predictable as
I said that too. I was like, bro, they got two more bigs
by the Brooklyn Nets. It was pretty obvious that Harden wanted out of Houston. From ignoring league protocol to make his daily visits to the strip club, to playing uninspiring basketball with his teammates that can't stand him, to showing up to a game looking like he somehow put on 72 pounds in 72 hours. James Harden's time in Houston was clearly coming to an end weeks ago. So now that the Nets have their hands on 3 of the most prolific offensive weapons in the league, how much success will they have this season? This trade was clearly an all-in type of deal. Brooklyn is completely set on winning a championship within the next couple
let's just hope
seasons.
It's not the same thing as the Paul George situation with the Clippers.
Goal? And what can we expect from this Nets team? Well, I'd like to begin by showing y'all a chart of the highest scoring trios in modern NBA history. At the bottom, you have the 2006 Wizards, whose big 3 averaged just over 67 points per game. The 2020 Blazers make an unexpected appearance on this list at just under 70 points per game. You have the 2011 Heat, the 2015 just points per game. The bottom showing y'all a chart of the highest scoring trios in modern NBA history. At the bottom, you have the 2006 Wizards, whose big 3 averaged just over 67 points per game. The 2020 Blazers make an unexpected appearance on this list at just under 70 points per game. You have the 2011 Heat, the 2015 Thunder, the Run TMC Warriors at 72.5 points per game, and rounding out the top 3 highest scoring trios in modern NBA history are the 2019 Warriors, the 2020 Rockets, and the 1984 Nuggets starring Kiki Do You Love Me Vandeweghe. But no trio in modern NBA history has averaged over 76.7 points per game. And then there's the Brooklyn Nets, who after acquiring James Harden have a big 3 that combines for an absurd 83 points per game. Now, of course, Harden hasn't played with the Nets yet, and we can all
That's literally 83 points from 3 players alone, bro. You get DeAndre Jordan 10 points, Joe Harris probably dropped 12, 14.
As opposed to his 30+ points per game in past seasons.
Get somebody off the bench, drop 10
per game combined is very realistic. which means this trio is
their offense is
going to
be crazy.
The greatest collection of scores on one team the league has ever seen, and it isn't even close. But if we take a closer look at this list of all-time scoring big threes, it's clear that just putting the ball in the hoop doesn't always lead to success throughout the season. In fact, it rarely does. Out of these 14 teams, only 6 made it past the second round of the playoffs, and only one team actually won the championship that season, and that team was the 2001 Lakers. So let's take a look at this from a different angle. Usage. Because let's be honest, there's only one basketball on the court. And as much as I like to see Kyrie and Harden cook up a mean ISO possession, this type of basketball will not work if they want to contend for a title. Durant, Kyrie, and Harden combined for an average usage of 94.2%. If we look at the top 5 highest point producing big threes in modern NBA
they almost have the ball for 100% of the game.
Team that even comes close to the potential usage of this Nets team. And
bro, so Harden, KD, and Kyrie average, and this is just assumption, this is just an assumption, they would presumably average 94% of the game where the ball is in their hands. And of course, you got the 2020 Rocket.
To no one's surprise, James Harden was on that team as well. 2 of the 3 highest usage big threes in NBA history, and James Harden is featured in both. The Warriors being the only team to even make it to the conference finals out of these 5 teams. Okay, but what if we look strictly at the best big threes of all time?
We gotta add.
Now, this list is subjective.
You in position yet?
Working on it.
Bro,
But
the only time I get Valorant ads is when I make these videos, bro.
But in my estimation, these are the best big threes in league history. Now,
The best one right here. This is the best. It didn't go so well, but you know, if we had Prime D Wade, this could have been legendary. Bulls, Warriors, Celtics.
I'm avoiding
Celtics.
adding great duos who had a solid third player, like Shaq, Kobe, and Derek Fisher. LeBron, AD, and honestly, it doesn't even matter. Add anyone you want as the third option. And when we look at these trios, what exactly do they have in common? Well, not much. Many different styles of basketball, different eras, many different all-time greats and championships won. But the one constant that remains is the role of the third option on any given big three. A role that is not easy to take on, and a role that is not welcomed by many players. We saw Chris Bosh go from a dominant first option on a young Raptors team to a third fiddle behind 2 all-time greats. Robert Parrish
he was still averaging 20 though,
one of the
so
most dominant centers of his era, but
still an
instead
all-star.
took a backseat to Larry Bird and Kevin McHale. James Worthy, similar to Parrish, spent his entire career playing whatever role the Lakers needed him to play instead of joining a less successful team and having all the touches he wanted. We just watched Klay Thompson play world-class off-ball offense in order to get his touches in a system that featured 2 of the best shooters the game has ever seen. And you want to know what all of these players received in return of their sacrifice?
Rings.
Championships, respect, a lasting legacy, and winning basketball. Every single one of these third options could have had a team of their own to call the shots and put up ungodly numbers. But instead, they opted into a much more selfless and rewarding option. This is the key to a successful big three, and it is the only way a star-studded trio will work. We have enough examples of failed experiments to know the other version of this does not work. So my question becomes, who out of these 3 all-time great
Somebody's not
offensive players is
averaging
willing
30
to
points
take a
this year,
backseat?
bruh.
Because no matter how you split it, one of them will have to. I don't see it being Kevin Durant, because although he is probably the most willing, the whole reason why he joined the Nets in the first place is so he could be the guy on a championship contending team, and he's just too good to play second fiddle to anyone. And I don't see it being Kyrie or Harden, since their entire game is built around having the basketball in their hands. They are not cut from the same cloth as Klay Thompson or Manu Ginobili or Chris Bosh. To them, it is their world, and we are all just living in it. And a phrase that I find myself saying more and more often: you cannot just throw a bunch of talent on a team and expect to win a championship. This is not how things work. We just talked about this. In fact, I feel like we always talk about this. And yet, here the Nets are giving up 2 young and rapidly improving players, as well as 4 first-round picks.
They would've went far with Caris LeVert, bro. I'm telling you. And Jared Allen.
Problem with each passing
Should've just kept
day.
those.
Think about what the Rockets organization has done to keep Harden happy.
Definitely
First,
not like
they bring
KD
in
gonna be
Dwight
30,
Howard. Dude hated it and dipped
34
out.
when
Then they
his
built
contract
their entire
says.
system around Harden. Didn't work, so they blew it all up and got rid of key pieces. Then they bring in Chris Paul. Chris Paul also didn't get along with Harden, so he bounced. So they brought in Russell Westbrook, hoping him and Harden would rekindle their once strong connection. And they also go to extreme small ball to better suit Harden's playstyle because of analytics. That was a mess, so they scrapped everything, got rid of Westbrook, got rid of Capella, traded for John Wall, and signed Boogie Cousins. These all look like moves to improve their team. But in reality, it was all to make their superstar happy and more successful. And what does he do to repay the Rockets organization? The man does this. Pair this toxicity with Kyrie Irving's "the earth is flat, third eye, I'm so woke" nonsense, and you've got possibly the least cohesive, nauseating, but freakishly talented duos we've ever seen. And Kevin Durant. Poor Kevin Durant. So, what do I think about this trade? I think the Nets had a bright future ahead of them with a stockpile of young talent mixed in with 2 megastars. They probably gave up more than they should have for a player that Houston was more than glad to get off their hands. James Harden is an absolute force on the offensive end, but they already had 3 players that could fill a similar role.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, the Nets went from contenders to please God, we must win this title because we have officially gone all in on this roster. Regardless, I cannot wait to see how Durant, Kyrie, and Harden will play together once, or shall I say if, Kyrie comes back from his spiritual trip. I mean, short hiatus for personal reasons. So, I'll leave y'all with something interesting. A chart showing the most accomplished trios in the NBA. This chart combines for all major accomplishments, such as championships, MVPs, scoring titles, all-star selections, defensive team selections,
we know the
pretty
Warriors
much
are gonna
any
be up here.
meaningful accolade, and displays that number as one grand total for each NBA team's best trio. Enjoy.
Warriors, the Bulls,
And as always,
Celtics.
Until next time.
Clippers. Oh, is that okay? Huh. Wait, is that like in total from like beginning of basketball or like what? Yeah, man, that was it. Appreciate y'all for watching this video. Like I said before, sub to Jimmy High Roller. Gonna like his video up. Y'all go show some love, man. Hope y'all enjoyed. Without further ado, that'll be it. Peace.